All good. Excellent. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. A little bit of feedback here. All good? Perfect. Excellent. Thanks for joining, everybody. I know we're here before your lunch, so we'll try to keep us on time here. We're going to get out of here at a reasonable time. So thanks for joining. We've got, I don't know if we can see our slides up here yet. We are going to walk through a bit of a live tabletop exercise here with some interaction with the audience today. So thanks for joining. Alicia, if you don't mind jumping to the next slide. We'll do some quick intros here, and then we'll do a bit of a OT Security 101 with Camille, and then we'll dive into the gameplay and do some key takeaways at the end. So intros. Here we go. Alicia, we have Alicia on virtually with us as well. I don't know if everybody can see that.
Camille. Louder. Go ahead, Alicia, I think.
Oh, we're just having a few audio issues here. Just one sec, Alicia. All right. We're good? Yeah, every audience can hear? Yes? Perfect, yes. Oh. Go ahead, Alicia.
Hello, everyone. Camille, Felx, Leduc. I'm a principal security consultant focusing on OT, operational technology, and industrial control system. We're going to do a one-on-one together just before the tabletop exercise. And happy to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. I will go next here. Aaron Edwards, consulting manager with Mandiant/Google. Been with Mandiant for just over, or a bit about 5 years, but I've been doing cybersecurity for almost 20. And happy to be here and working through this exercise with you guys today. All right, what do we got next here?
It's OT Security one-on-one. First of all, it's going to be a tabletop exercise. I don't know if you're familiar with tabletop. Alicia will go much more in depth, but here we wanted to do just a quick introduction of what is operational technology in order to help you answer the question that we will have for you later on. Then, what is operational technology? If you go to the next slide, Alicia. Operational technology, and we're sorry, this is great, and maybe you don't see it much, but is the hardware and software that detects or cause change through direct monitoring and our control of the industrial equipment. You can think of manufacturing, factories, power grid, all those industries have specific devices, and here we have examples of those devices like a PLC, HMI, valve. We use all those devices and we put protection on it. You cannot put the protection on PLC, HMI, and valve as the same as we do in IT. If you go to the next slide, we're going to go more in depth into what is operational technology. Next slide. And then basically what is important to understand in OT, the device like a PLC or HMI, there's not a lot of memory, RAM, all those powerful tools that you have in OT, in IT, so you don't really have them in OT. Then you can think of, you put an agent on a computer, you cannot really put that agent on a PLC, HMI or something because it's not made to have an agent on it. Those type of devices are made to work for like 20, 50 years, a long period of time. They're super basic, and just because of that, we have to approach cybersecurity around that differently. Why is it important first? Operational disruption. Imagine if tomorrow we all wake up, no electricity. There will be a lot of chaos. There will be a problem. You won't be happy. Imagine your water is contaminated. We're going to go much more in depth with the water factor, but there's also a lot of safety risks for everyone that is working in the manufacturing or factory. It can lead to physical harm or even loss of life. And we really need to be careful around OT security. And sadly, also we see a lot of OT security in the geopolitical area. As you may know, there's a lot of war in the world, and sometimes we have backlash, and sometimes it's how the threat actor wants to cause damage on the society. Then it's really related to OT security. Unique challenge, legacy system. We did talk a little bit about it. Proprietary protocol in OT, you're not going to have all the protocols that you have in IT. It's going to be specific one. For instance, you have your third party like Siemens, ABB, they have their own protocol for your manufacturing plant or for your power grid. And we really need to understand better those in order to protect. Sorry, I don't see it at the bottom. The limited visibility and skill gap. Limited visibility in OT, because you cannot have agent, you cannot do scan as you want to do in IT, then there's a lack of visibility. Often we go to clients and we ask them, hey, do you have an inventory of your OT asset? They're like, no. Then it's something that we need to work on when you have an OT plant. And also the skill gap, it's something that is coming up. I think StockNet was in 2012. Then StockNet was really the precursor of everything related to OT security. And just because of that, we need to adapt. And there's not a lot of people in the market in order to help. I hope it's going to help you with the TTX. We'll see. Thank you.
Excellent. I think it's over to you now, Alicia. Oh, we can't hear you.
Just for everyone in the room, sorry, Alicia, if I just wanted to say that we have gifts for the podium.
We do have gifts.
Then, yeah, I won't say what it is. It will be a surprise for all of you, but the podium, for the podium, we have gifts.
No, I can do the background if you want. Yeah. Excellent. And I know we can't really read the slide here too well, but basically some background information. You know, we're really creative here at Google/Mandiant. So we're going with a city that we are working in here. It's called Puddlesburg. It's a small town of about 250,000 people in Ontario, relies on its Sploosh Works waterworks wastewater facility treatment plant. And it's used to manage about inflow of about 30 million gallons of wastewater. The facility is crucial to house health and well-being. And your role as the audience here today is, imagine you're pretend that you're the director of the information security for that for Puddlesburg wastewater treatment plant. All right, let's dive in to the first inject. So as we can see here on the screen, let's give us a second. Yep, no problem.
Makes sense. Everyone is set up in the room? Yes.
All right.
Can you share the inject first?
Yeah, I don't know if Alicia, can you hear us? Can you just flip to the inject slide? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Again, you won't be able to see it super well, unfortunately, here. But basically, the premise of this is there's been some Microsoft Defender alerts that have been triggered across the IT environment. It's basically been triggered as a due to some PowerShell scripts that were being run within the environment. And the alerts have been reviewed by the Puddlesburg SOC team. And basically what you need to know is that these PowerShell commands show commonalities with commands that are used to basically run password stealing scripts to help exfiltrate passwords from an environment. So that's basically what you're seeing up here. So based on this, what would be your, if you leveraging the Kahoo, what would be your, what do you think is the best course of action based on what we've known so far? So if you have the alerts that have, it runs PowerShell commands that tend to lean towards password stealing. And I think, Alicia, I'll throw it over to you with this one.
And the second inject is unusual amount of traffic. Here we're lucky with this water treatment. They have a little bit of visibility on their OT. Then we're lucky, and basically during typical workday, unusual amount of traffic was observed in between two OT devices. And as you can see on the screen, usually it's at a certain level, and then hey, we have a peak. There was no alert related to that communication, and it was observed on the network monitoring tool. Usually in OT, we're going to use a passive scanner, and that's where we got the information with that lucky company. Then what is the best course of action? you send person. Then inject 3 here, based on what we saw, we are starting to see some PLC. It's one of the tools that I showed, device, sorry, that I showed you earlier. Programmable logic controller. They're starting to fail. There's one that is starting to fail, and sadly, this one is controlling the amount of chlorine that is added to the water. And basically, there's too much chlorine in the water, and then you're at home, and then you take a little bit of water, and your water would smell like chlorine. The malfunction is causing an elevated level of chlorine, exactly, yeah. And here, again, how do you contain this incident?
So Alicia, if you can jump to the next question there.
One of the choice was to reboot the PLC. Here in IT, if you call the IT dev, sometimes there's like, oh, reboot. In OT, something else that is super interesting is the PLC has a volatile memory. Then if you want to understand the forensic or incident response on that device, if you reboot the PLC, you won't be able to get all those information. And in the OT environment, it's really important for your business continuity or incident response plan to have that type of knowledge or information as part of it. PLC, you don't reboot a PLC. You don't ping a PLC, because sometimes also a PLC, if you ping them, they will stop their actual process to install your ping. Then that can cause some issue in physical damage. Just wanted to add that before the next inject.
Okay, thank you. A bit of on the recovery activities. So the PLC functions have been restored. Recovery activities are in progress, and Puddlesburg begins to recover from the incident. So the primary question here is, what would be some of the recovery actions that are required to regain confidence as we return back to business as usual?
There's first a blanket, a backpack, cooler. The backpack, here you go. Mom, who's mom? Which one would you? The blankets. And then ISI. Oh, sorry. Here you go. A nice cooler. You're welcome.
I get this flipped over. Go to the next one. There we go. Perfect. So some key takeaways for you, Jas, your team's back at the office, right? Do we have an actual incident response plan that takes both OT and IT actions and environments into the consideration for that? Do the executive teams and technical teams both have, incident response plans on that side of the fence as well? Do we have containment and recovery strategies for large-scale incidents? Does this consider safety and reliability, right? So that's obviously one of the biggest components when it comes to OT environment is safety and reliability. So making sure that we have containment and recovery studies that consider those. Do we have the right partners in place? So partners such as Mania and Google to help with incident response, forensics, all that good stuff who have to have expertise in the OT space. And then lastly here, how do we communicate recovery, remediation, progress to leadership effectively? That's a big thing is communication here, not only to leadership, but also externally, right? Especially when you're dealing something in the OT space that may impact a municipality, right? So communications is key, making sure that you've got that stuff designed and developed and ready to go. And I do believe our last slide here is a bit of a marketing plug here and some statistics. I don't want to take too much time on this. I know we do have lunch coming up, but the barcode top right-hand corner is a link to the Mandiant MTrans report that has all the statistics on there. This is gathered annually. It just came out for 2023. So we have some live statistics there. So just quickly on the left here is some statistics around top targeted industries. I can't read that. So we got financial at the very top, financial industries. If in financial space, you are target number one. In the bottom right-hand corner here, we've got some of the key objectives from the threat actors, financial gain and data theft. Those are the two biggest ones that they're going after. One can lead to the other as well. And right above that is the global median dwell time. Basically, this is reflecting that the amount of time that an attacker is in your environment before it's discovered is decreasing significantly. I do believe it was 400 days back a long time ago, and now it's down to 10 days. So a couple of byproducts of that are the internal teams having to be better controls in place, but also external notification, right? So if the threat actor reaches out to you, or if somebody notifies you that they found your data on the dark web. So that's kind of, both those things are kind of driving that element to, a 10-day dwell time before they're actually discovered within your environment. So that's a quick overview of some quick data here. If you want more, feel free to click on the barcode there. I don't know what it was called, but QR code, thank you. And that wraps us up for today. So we will open the floor. Thank you. So we do have a few minutes here, so if anybody does have any questions they want to throw at us, yes, go ahead.
I came in a little late, so apologize if you don't mind. Is it your opinion then, or what is your opinion? Is it better, should the corporate or utility security team be responsible for alerts and monitoring of the SCADA or the OT system, or is it better to have a team that's dedicated and already knows the SCADA, how the SCADA system is built and operated, that is security focused?
Our client at the moment. Our approach is that at the end of the day, the security team, either if it's from IT or OT, they have the same objective. Sadly, in the landscape at the moment, IT and OT team don't work together. They don't, and we have to force to bridge that gap. We need them to sit in a conference room together, either through a threat model, either a TTX like that, because when we do that often, what they realize is that they don't understand their own language. IT has a language, OT has a language. Then super interesting. One example is that we did a TTX at some point with IT and OT, and then one of the inject was we lost visibility on that substation. the IT team was like, oh, it's okay, it's gonna come back. And then the OT group unmute themselves and they're like, no, this is critical. Then what I want to say is that you need an approach that brings those two teams together. When you have a SOC that you monitor the SCADA, you need to have actual employee that understand the SCADA. Then in your control room, maybe working with them a little bit more, but really, I think both solutions can work, but really they need to understand their language when they work together, because that's where it's going to grow, and that's where it will be better for the team. Then having a team with that OT experience, understand the nuance is really important, not split and together.
Big challenge, yeah.
Yeah. To bridge. There's actually the threat model. It's another service line that it's quite nice because everybody sit together and we look at the architecture together and we look at the flaw and either if you do it through internal team and you have it, or if you bring a consulting firm to do it, but really those two teams to talk together and understand the nuance to a threat model, TTX, because you want to make sure you practice before it happens in the real life. Then those two, I think, are really great.
The other thing you could think about is a bit of a purple team exercise where whether it's through a third party or through your own internal pen testing team to actually mimic the behavior of a threat actor and see if your teams can detect it in your OT environment, and then how do you establish that response together as a team, right? So it's a bit of a joint effort between your incident responders, your offensive security teams, to make sure that you are testing from the OT and vice versa, from the corporate into the OT, and then the OT into the corporate as well, just to make sure you've got a full line of visibility there as well. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't see the screen properly, but who are the biggest threat actors in, I guess, in this situation, and do they all have different techniques that stand out from one another, or do they all like facilitate the exact same sort of attacks?
Want me to take the first? Perfect. So yeah, a lot of the organization, not the organization. So the biggest threat actors towards OT infrastructure, those type of things tend to be state sponsored, tend to be advanced persistent threats that have the knowledge, the time, the funding to go after these spaces because they're very niche, right? So it requires very specific skill sets to do these. So as we can see, Stuxnet was one of the first ones, right? That was state sponsored, right? So they don't tend to be financially motivated. They tend to be disruption motivated, which is government based typically. And because of the nuances between Puddlesburg and Toronto, they're going to be very different, right? So the attack techniques are also very different in order to depending on what they're going after, right? So they'll be very custom and very specific to the environment that they're trying to go after. Lots of research from the threat actor to understand what's in place so that they can go after it properly.
Also, one other thing that I would love to add is related to Stuxnet. Stuxnet was a big malware for zero-day vulnerability. It was crazy when everybody, when they saw that, they was like, oh my God, this is intense. But the nuance is that often people forget is after that, the malware was pushed in the wild. Then after that, all of the other customers were backlash with that Stuxnet. Then here, I think what I just wanted to add is that sometimes you don't think you're the actor that you will get hacked, but sometimes it's just a backlash of a malware that end up in your environment, supply chain, through your compromise through your third party. Because in OT also, something that it's really hard to manage is that most of the time they have a lot of third party coming in, doing maintenance, doing the programmation of the PLC. All of that can bring another risk. And you have to view that risk differently from the IT side because they have direct access to your manufacturing plant or factory.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to go after the third party policies of the world that you haven't had the implementations of as opposed to kind of go through you directly. So the supply chain and third party risk is also very important in that space.
It's a good question.
Yeah, so you're thinking SLAs when it comes to your third parties that you're working with, or somebody like a for instance,
Right.
organization like a Mandy. Oh, internally. That's a good question. Yeah. So I would say that the SLAs are going to be different for sure, just because of the nature of the corporate environment versus the OT environment, right? So you may have a quicker response time on the corporate side because you have better visibility. So it might take you, so it's going to be making sure that you've got the proper visibility in place so that you can have an SLA. Oftentimes I don't think there are SLAs in place when it comes to recognizing these things on the OT environment, just because there isn't a ton of visibility, right? So, and then it's just a matter, okay, once you do discover something's going on, how quickly can we mobilize and get that up and have a team involved, right? So that's probably where your SLAs will be in place, and that might line up more more strategically with your corporate SLAs as well. I don't know if that really answers your question, but there's definitely a challenge there when trying to align those SLAs between the two environments.
And shameless plug, but when you have a retainer also, sometimes people think that, oh, you have a retainer for IT and sometimes you have a retainer for OT. For us, it's all together. Then it's interesting because the people that you will bring in will help you on the OT. And imagine if you have a separate one, the IT team need to bring the other OT retainer, talk to them, what is going on, blah, blah, blah. For us, it's really internal. It's integrate together. Then it's also something that's super interesting and lower your SLA reaction time, because the people that are on the incident response are our colleagues. We talk to them all the time. And also that helps bridge a gap there.
Any other questions? I know we are 3 minutes away from lunch.
Yeah.
No, excellent. Well,
Perfect.
thank you everybody for your time.
Thank
Have a great
you so
day.
much.